Krushing Kayfabe. My name is Jason Garish, and my co-host is Matt Reeves.
How is everyone doing?
And we are going to be a semi-weekly podcast based on wrestling. Now, we're based out of Tennessee, so hopefully we'll be covering some of the local wrestling scene here. I really am looking forward to that. Hopefully they'll be cooperative as possible. But we'll also be covering the national scene, also WWE, AEW, maybe some GCW, whatever we feel like doing at the time. I mean, it's loosely a wrestling podcast, but if we want to talk about the price of kumquats in China, we will do so. So that's basically our deal. This is going to be an opinion show. It's not going to be a factual show. I mean, it's our opinions. So if you don't like them, then don't listen. But we hope you listen because we're going to have a good time. And let me start off by kind of telling you a little bit about myself. I'm a singer-songwriter, originally from Connecticut, and we transferred down here a little over 2 years ago to Tennessee. I was working at a store in Memphis, but moved my family down here. But being in Connecticut, I kind of grew up being a WWE fanboy. I used to watch Saturday mornings WWF with my mother, and that's one of the fondest memories I have. Actually, is she's no longer with us, unfortunately. But that I used to watch, Hulk Hogan, whatnot, Bret Hart, all those guys, kind of on Saturday mornings. That was a good time. But yeah, I'd like, before everything gets started off, I'd like kind of give some shout outs to people such as Don Tony, Kevin Castle, Wrestling Soup guys, Soul Monster. I'd like to shout out to Peter Pino of PPRN. He has had me on his podcast several times and kind of helped me out, gave me the idea to do this, and kind of indirectly inspired me. Like Phil Hall, who's had me on his shows numerous times. But those are people who have inspired me to say, hey, this might be a possibility. We could do this, so let's do it, So, but let me turn the mic over to Matt, and he can kind of go over what his background is and what he hopes to accomplish with the show.
Thank you, Jason. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, moved to Tennessee in 2005.
What's growing up in Chicago though, man? What kind of wrestling scene was it? Growing up, you were a WWE fan growing up too, right?
Right.
Man?
WWE, WCW. There was a couple of shows I go see in Chicago Heights, where I grew up in Illinois, and that's what really made me love wrestling and watching these guys, start their way from the bottom, trying to move up, and then watching WWE growing up was like, to me, a sheltered kid watching wrestling was amazing. So, and my hopes for this show is, like you said, talk about what we love, why we love wrestling, current state of where wrestling is, WWE, AEW.
Basically anything we want to talk about, kind of thing. Right. If we want to get on here and talk about how our day went, we'll do it, man. So it's kind of the way that things are gonna go. Hopefully you find it entertaining. I purposely didn't want to do like a wrap up show or like a recap. Yeah, because it's everybody's doing that, and the guys out there that are doing it are awesome, and I don't want to step on their toes. And hopefully we can offer some new perspective on some historical events and like I said, some local scene going on here, which the indies really don't get covered with the respect that they deserve. So it'd be kind of cool to, and Tennessee really has a thriving wrestling scene right now. So I mean, we got TIWF right down the street. We got a ton of promotions in Memphis. So Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express has a school in Tennessee too. And he does some live shows on Facebook and whatnot. They're really good, and I ran into him at the store, kind of like at the where we work, the store we work at. I rounded the corner and goes, is who is that? It's like you can't mistake that long, blonde / gray hair kind of going on though. It's it's him as soon as you see that. So, but yeah, definitely with the new kids on the block, kind of AEW, and they're. But
finally, some competition for WWE. Finally.
Yeah. I mean, I know like our favorite years were the Attitude Era, and the reason why I love the fact that AEW has burst onto the scene the way they have is not because I hate WWE. It's simply because the best years that I can remember from WWE were when they had competition, when they had somebody pushing them,
give them a reason to put out good product.
Absolutely, like. When WCW, ECW was around and those guys were around, I mean, wrestling flourished. You saw ratings in the 5s for like both shows. Right. I mean, there were millions and millions of people watching. Now, you're lucky if you can break a 2 with a wrestling show, which is insane to me. We're talking about successes with 1 million viewers, and that was
the golden of wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, nowadays we're talking about success with 1 million viewers, and that was pales in comparison. Going back to those golden years of wrestling, like you were saying with WCW, man, and that stuff is really, really good in a lot of ways. I mean, there was some horrible stuff during the Attitude Era. I don't want to romanticize it too much. There was some. I mean, what was that incident with Triple H and the corpse and all that crap?
Right, yeah.
So I mean,
it's questionable things.
There's some god awful stuff
nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not going to romanticize that era too much because I lived through the rock and roll wrestling thing, and I lived through all that, so I know it. And even as a kid, I knew that was way too cartoony for me. And when I started watching the Southwest Wrestling, ICW, WCW, all the the Crockett promotion stuff. Right. I was like, holy crap! There's wrestling outside of WWE, and it's not this cartoon, Because even at a young age, I was a kid, but I could look at like someone like, Bret Hart, and I could look at someone like Hulk Hogan, and I could differentiate and tell. One guy could wrestle, one guy couldn't.
Right.
And why? Even as a kid, that made no sense to me. Why Hulk Hogan was like the top guy,
poster boy for wrestling.
Yeah. So that even as that made no sense whatsoever to me. So because, man, I could see Bret Hart go in the ring, and some people would even argue that his brother Owen was a better wrestler than he was. And
make that argument.
Yeah. I mean, he probably was. I mean, I didn't like his style as much on the mic as Bret Hart, but yeah, he probably was a better wrestler than Bret Hart, and that's not putting Bret down at all. That's how good he was, And I was really happy to see AEW coming up with the whole support of the foundation for Owen Hart and establishing a tournament for him.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, they did. I'll show you that in a little bit. I didn't mean to sandbag you with that. Sorry.
That's good.
But yeah, no, there's some really cool because his widow will not talk to WWE.
Right.
Will not work. And can you blame her?
No.
I mean,
I've seen that on a TV show.
Was it Dark Side?
Yeah. She has nothing to do with Vince, WWE. They won't own up to what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't even know what to say about that whole situation. I
would like to do an episode one day about,
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I think that would be amazing. I've never seen footage of the incident, nor do I really want to. I've heard audio from it. I couldn't. I was pretty young at the time. It's not like I could afford pay-per-views, I can't afford pay-per-views now. I have a family, But yeah, that was. Even Sting stopped doing his thing from the rafters because of the Owen Hart incident, and
I don't really see too many people. There's a few.
Yeah, every now and then you'll see it. Like I know
Shawn Michaels did it at his last. I believe his last WrestleMania.
Was it the last one? I know what you're talking about, but for some reason my
He
memory
had a
is
lot of
completely
last
fucked.
time matches. So.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, his back was ripped to shreds at one point, so he couldn't really do a whole lot. And then he came back. I was like, wow, I mean, I think he was even better psychology-wise in the ring when he came back. He had that epic feud with Triple H.
Yeah, that was one of his best feuds.
And I think I have most of that on DVD. It was like, wow, that was really, because he couldn't do all the high spots, but man, he could work in the ring better than anybody else. You know, I actually have his book back there somewhere. You know, I'm in the process of reading that right now. Once I get through with the Toad's Place book, my wife surprised me with this really cool book. And anybody in Connecticut that's listening, Toad's Place, man, if you're wondering about getting that book, get that book. There's a book out on Toad's Place, and you know, it's stepping aside from wrestling right now, but it's really good. It's got some great pictures. It talks about the whole thing when the Rolling Stones came in and they did a warm-up show before their Steel Wheels tour over there, and it's a venue I played at and I love, so in downtown New Haven, Connecticut. So but yeah, aside from that, sorry.
It's our show. We do whatever we want.
I was gonna say, man, we can talk about whatever the hell we want, man. And I did put a disclaimer that is a public. I mean, it is an adult-oriented show, so you know we're not gonna. I'll try to keep the language down, but I'm not gonna get too stupid.
No problem.
You know, but if we want to say anything, I'm not gonna put a governor on anybody's mouth either. You know, so people should feel free to express their feelings and whatnot, opinions, without repercussions. Well, I shouldn't say without repercussions, but you know what I mean. Yeah. But yeah, those were you know, some of my favorite years. But like I said, that's what I'm seeing reemerge a tiny bit. I mean, this isn't like totally like the Attitude Era. You know, obviously,
I think it's the fact that they're letting them have their own
creative,
let them go their own ideas.
Yeah.
And that was what Vince was doing in the Attitude Era. So I hope they keep going.
Yeah,
they're going.
I mean, it's been kind of a blessing and a curse to AEW, because the thing I've noticed about AEW is there isn't, because they're letting their wrestlers have so much freedom creatively, there's some repetition. And that bothers me. I know it bothered Jericho at one point. He said, that's another thing. Shout out to Chris Jericho. I love his podcast too. But I know it bothered Jericho. He commented on it. He said, we were going to do this spot, and somebody else in the match right before it did the same damn spot.
Right.
So that's the only problem creatively. They've got to tighten that up. Yeah. Because, and that with the booking too, they're
fairly new. So, I mean, if they can figure it out sooner than later, they're going to be good for a long time.
Well, that's the thing that's astounding to me, is they are so new, yet so successful.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and the sad thing is, I look at them and I draw some parallels in some ways between them and TNA, which is not good in some ways. I mean, that at least, I mean, Tony Khan, let's face it, is a fanboy. He's a mark. Yeah. I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because I'm a fanboy, you know. But I think sometimes it might cloud his judgment on certain things, and he's given the wrestlers a little bit too much freedom, I think. I mean, he can't sustain this whole spot fest thing.
Right, yeah.
And that's going to eventually kill them in the end, because people are going to get hurt, and people are going to expect to see these crazy matches every week. And then when you have a show, like they had a couple of shows where they weren't doing the crazy matches, they were having a little bit more enhancement talent on, and it kind of fell flat. Yeah. You're kind of waiting for the whole thing to happen. So I think they've got to work in a little bit more storytelling to kind of make up for that, because they got the skilled wrestlers. They got the people there. They got the talent. It's not like they don't have that.
They got the veterans around, the right veterans to build them up.
Absolutely. I mean,
compared to what TNA had, they had the veterans that wanted the spotlight, not to build people.
I mean, I look at the whole thing. AJ Styles had this great promo against Hulk Hogan and TNA. and it was funny because he was kind of shooting when he said it, because he started talking about all this stuff. Because when Dixie Carter let Hogan and Bischoff have the reins, it became a mini WWE,
Right.
a WWE light, and man, when and that pissed me off. I didn't like that at all, because I liked the whole X Division thing. I like the 6-eyed ring.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Because when you're flipping through the channels, it looks different.
Yeah, he catches your eye.
Yeah,
What is this?
What's this? I was the first time I saw TNA. I was like, first time I noticed TNA was I saw Sting.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of Sting growing up, and I saw Sting on TV. I'm like, holy crap, that's Sting, So immediately caught my attention right there. And then you see the 6-eyed ring. You see the differences.
Right.
From WWE, and I was like, this was an alternative. You can't compete with WWE by being WWE.
No.
You can't, because you're going to pale in comparison. They've been doing it too long. They've got it down. They are WWE. They are what they do. Do not be WWE, because if they start if AEW starts looking like a WWE light, they've already committed suicide at that point.
Right.
It's you can't be yourself, and
that's what made WCW and ECW so good.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah. And WCW pushed WWE limits because they started doing the more reality-based stuff.
Yeah.
So WWE in turn had to push their limits, and because of ECW. So
ECW, when I was a kid, blew my mind. I remember my friend had this VHS. That's how old we are, and showed me this, and I'm like, "This is amazing! Like, they can kill this guy and get away with it. Like, this is great."
I mean, and I just saw the Dark Side of the Ring. What was it, man? The organization that inspired ECW's creation. I can't think of
Japanese
organization there.
Now, if you can find clips of that on YouTube, that's insane. Out of this world.
That's
the
insane.
Stuff they came up with.
Exploding ring with Terry Funk and all that. And it was like, like I said, that's what inspired Paul Heyman. He saw this stuff.
Right.
And that in addition to XPW kind of thing. XPW was, I don't know if you're familiar with XPW. Mm-hmm. Get a chance to watch the Dark Side of the Ring based off of XPW, because that was even more insane than ECW. I mean, because the dude that owned the promotion to that he owned a porn company too. So you'd have porn shooting in one room, and the wrestling show shot in another.
Sounds great.
So it was insane, but the dude is crazy. His name escapes me right now, but it was insane. And so you had a couple of promotions that were they're really pushing the envelope. In ECW, like I say, Paul Heyman saw that and said, "I want to do that," kind of thing. And you guys like New Jack and whatnot that just
New Jack.
I mean,
rest in peace, man.
I was gonna say, he pushed it to the extreme. That was a dude you didn't want to fuck with in the ring.
No.
That
was a guy that did not know how to turn it off.
No, he didn't. And that's, I mean, he would get back at guys too. I mean, that dude that he stunned on the scaffolding and ended up plummeting through how many tables,
Yeah.
I mean, and they nearly killed that kid by practically scalping him in the ring. And that kid had no business even being
barely. Was he even 18?
Barely. I think. I think he might have been barely. If not, his father signed for him and signed his death warrant at that point, which was stupid. But
that's what made them different.
Yeah.
Than anybody else.
Yeah, and that's what, because ECW had their niche viewers, and you knew that guys that were fans of ECW weren't necessarily fans of WWE.
Right.
I mean, and getting back to the TNA thing, it's funny when TNA's early growth. I remember a fan base almost as rabid as ECW.
Oh yeah.
And They were doing shows right at the Nashville Fairgrounds at the time. Unfortunately, I don't think the fairgrounds even exist anymore. Didn't they put a soccer field now?
Yeah.
It's but I mean now because Jeff and Jerry Jarrett did their promotion there forever at the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And
there was a time they were competing with WWE.
Yeah,
they had their moment.
Yeah, I mean until McMahon started gobbling up the territories.
Yeah.
And I kind of put an end to that, unfortunately, because money talks. And the sad thing is, you look at like the Crockett Promotions and stuff. They had no shortage of money, but they just didn't approach it the right way. The same because right out of the gates, Vince McMahon approached it as a professional business.
Yeah.
And you look at the way Crockett's approached it. They were kind of flying by the seat of their pants. And they've been doing this forever, and doing that. And they had like one production room with one guy editing and stuff. And then you go to, Titan Towers in Stamford, Connecticut, and you got an entire section devoted to a professional, production crew and whatnot. I mean, people would look at the television and see the difference production wise, and that's one of the things. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I stopped watching stuff like Ring of Honor, because
the quality,
production quality was so bad. I mean, I was a production assistant back in Connecticut for a television station there, and so I've done directing, I've done professional camera work, I've done CG, I've done pretty much anything you can do at a studio. I've done audio, mixing, editing, and I look for things like that, unfortunately, and it's kind of trained into me.
Right. And that's what catches people's eyes, the quality, the sound quality.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can go, you can have best product in the world. If it looks like garbage and it sounds like garbage, nobody's going to watch it.
Right.
And unfortunately, because people this day and age have so much media being thrown at them that you got to catch them within the first couple seconds, or otherwise people are just going to tune you out and be done. So it's that's kind of the way it is. But, getting back to the current state of wrestling, I mean, how do you feel about the whole AEW thing coming on the scene? I know, obviously, you think it's good because of the competition, because I think it's, like I said, I'm not a WWE hater, but I don't stock in the company. So, but, I mean, so I want to see it do well, and I want it to be successful. I want to make money. But is that a conflict of interest? Doing a podcast and
No. They'll let us know eventually.
Let's talk to the legal department about that. But yeah, that's
I think it was time. It was time for something to give WWE, like, hey, we need to. It's kind of compared to, like, let's say iPhones. They keep giving out the same thing just every year, and that's what WWE was giving us. It was all we had, so we watched it.
Right,
it was same stuff, and then AEW came along, and it was like, hey,
there's an alternative.
Who are these guys?
Yeah.
And
it didn't hurt that they had some big names off the bat, too.
Right.
Like, you look at it and you go, oh, here's Chris Jericho. Oh, here's Cody Rhodes. Wait a minute. Kind of the same way with TNA roped me in with Sting.
What Cody Rhodes did was, I was like, I'm not going to watch this because he was trash in WWE. And then I'm watching like, I love this guy. Like, where was this guy?
Where was this guy?
Yeah.
And that's the problem that WWE put throttles on, put so many people in creative positions that they didn't belong.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at what they're doing with the current crop of NXT guys that have moved up to the roster.
That's what I hate. You have something beautiful as NXT, and they come up and then you squash them.
Well, they take everything that worked for them in NXT and throw it out the window.
Right.
And I don't know if it's purposely done to test them, or if they're just not watching their own product.
Right. I don't understand. Yeah.
Because creative, they bring them up like look at a guy like Karrion Kross.
Oh man.
I mean, that guy was killing it on the Indies. He was killing it at NXT. and they said, let's dress him up like a gladiator,
Right.
make him look like a fool.
First match, he loses to Jeff
To
Hardy.
Jeff Hardy,
So he loses all credibility at that point. No offense against Jeff, he's a squash guy now.
He is. He's enhancement talent.
Yeah,
right now.
that's all he's there for.
But he makes people look good.
Yeah.
So it works, but I mean, Cross specifically, man, I was a huge fan of his,
Right.
and I wanted to turn back into WWE because I haven't watched the product. To be honest with people, I haven't watched the product in a long time because it just got to the point where it wasn't worth my time spending that many hours a week watching. I said, well, let me watch AEW. I mean, I have a family, I have a job, I have a life. I can't be devoting that many hours to wrestling. I mean, I hate to say that. As much as I love the product, there's other options out there now.
Right.
So I mean, and I'm not putting down, WWE. I don't want to sound that way, but
Give us something new.
yeah, they needed AEW to kick them in the seat, and that was a welcome change, So, wow, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, but man, like I was saying, like with the guy with Cross, man, I'd watched him previous to being with WWE and being with NXT even,
Right.
And then he came over to NXT and they put that killer, with him and Scarlett Bordeaux, they put that killer introduction, that killer, intro he comes into.
Right.
Completely eliminated that when he
Yeah.
went up to WWE. Completely did away with it. Didn't pair him off with Scarlett anymore.
Yeah.
And like you said, had him job out to Jeff Hardy, who's
Right.
now enhancement talent. So
I can't think of anybody that came up from NXT that's one of the main guys on the roster.
it's the women.
Yeah.
I mean, and they had to because they had garbage for talent
For women.
for women.
Yeah.
And it sucks because who's their women? You got Becky, NXT. They're all the 4 horsewomen.
Right.
You got Charlotte, you got Becky, you got Bayley, and you got Sasha. That's their
Top, yeah.
their top women. Liv Morgan's okay talent. I got nothing against her.
Bianca's pretty. What's she?
Bianca
Bianca?
Belair is really good. I like her. I mean, she was an NXT talent. I mean, but they killed her character when they had
Becky Squasher.
Becky Squasher in 30
And
seconds.
it's what WWE's really good at.
Yeah.
Squashing.
I mean, my wife is a huge Becky Lynch fan, and she heard about that, and she's like, "Why are they booing?" Because she hadn't been following the product.
Right.
Why are they booing Becky? And I was like, because she just squashed the top babyface in the company right now.
Yeah.
So
The match
people
was
are
like what?
pissed. 30 seconds, I think,
Right.
or something. Like,
Yeah.
people are pissed. When you've invested your time and your effort into Bianca. Now you got Becky coming back. Oh, I'll take what's fine.
Right.
Let me have that belt. It's like, yeah, people have the right to be pissed at that.
Yeah.
Because you put a lot of heart and put a lot of interest in this person, built her up. Then just, hey, she's gone. She's enhancement talent too. So, okay,
And I'm pretty sure that's going to happen to Big E.
You think so?
They're not going to let Big E keep the title for too much longer. I don't believe.
You might be right. Because, man, he's primarily, in a lot of ways, he's been a comedic
Right.
kind of thing with the whole New Day. I mean, I was happy to see it on Big E, but I think it should have been years ago, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I was happy to see it on Bobby Lashley. I love Bobby Lashley. I love this whole role where he had become a monster heel. He was beating the crap out of people. I love that.
Yeah.
That was great. And then here comes Big E and takes away from
Yeah.
him. I wasn't pissed because I
Wanted that whole angle, Goldberg and him, but they didn't want Goldberg to beat Lashley for a title, I believe.
It makes Lashley look weak.
So I believe
That makes sense, man.
I'm pretty sure after this Goldberg feud is done with Lashley will take back his reigns.
That could be. That makes sense now, actually. I'm all Goldberged out, man.
I've been Goldberg out for years, man.
I mean, I enjoyed him in WCW. That was probably one of the best booking jobs I've ever seen in wrestling in my entire life.
Yeah.
Was the whole Goldberg thing, because they never ever, except for the whole thing with who was it? They never, except for one match, they never exposed his flaws. William Regal was the one who took him. Yeah. He actually tried to wrestle him and showed him what. Yeah, this guy was green.
Yeah,
but man, they built that guy into a huge mega star, and that was just brilliant booking to me because they took like his 4 or 5 moves, and they highlighted that.
Right, and that's all you need.
And that's all you needed, and because he would come in, squash these guys in 30 seconds, and you never exposed the fact that he couldn't mat wrestle.
But yeah.
Which amazed me because doesn't he have an MMA background?
I think so. I know he played football.
He did. He played for the Falcons, I believe.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt, so he turned to wrestling. He was never a wrestling fan.
Right.
He never followed wrestling. But, man, when he came out and breathed the smoke through his nose.
It was amazing.
It was amazing,
You're a kid watching this, this mammoth guy, and he's crushing everybody.
And he's being led to the ring by security
guard, yeah.
That's brilliant. That is freaking brilliant. That is like the best thing Bischoff ever did. And, they never exposed him. And then they obviously have the finger poke of death or doom or whatever. Which was, he went from amazing booking to garbage booking in a split second, after Nash beat him. And then Hogan took the belt off of Nash. But
I think it was... When he was in the background, it was better. But then when Eric wanted to be he wanted to be the show.
He did.
He wanted to be the guy.
I think he got a taste of it. I mean, because he started up as an announcer?
Yeah.
I believe. And
I don't think he had a wrestling background either.
Well, he never wrestled, but he would do the interviews.
Right.
Crockett would let him do the interviews backstage, so he was a dude that interviewed people, He was like a Mean Gene kind of deal, but I mean, previous to that, I don't think he ever did anything in wrestling.
But he had great product.
He did until the NWO got out of hand.
There was too many,
and that to me kind of also draws some parallels in some ways to AEW because their biggest failure was giving complete creative control to the wrestlers. Yeah. And that's where Tony Khan has to throttle things back and make sure. I mean, he has final say, thank God. So the wrestlers don't have it in their contract to have complete control over it. Because Hogan, if he didn't want to lose, he didn't lose.
Right.
If he didn't want to job somebody, if he didn't want to do a promo, he didn't do it.
Yeah.
He didn't do it. And he had in his contract, he had it written in complete creative control. So, next thing you know, with WCW, you had the LWO. Next thing you know, NWO was a small little clique that was really cool. Became this gigantic thing.
What made NWO so good to me was I just saw these guys on
WWE
a week ago, and what are they doing on here?
Yep.
And I really, in my head, thought it was an invasion. I'm probably 12 maybe, and that's what, and that whoever thought that up was genius.
It was brilliant. Now and that's when you could do that because they didn't have the 90-day competes. Right. And man, when I saw, and as soon as that crap got out of control, Vince McMahon wrote that 90-day compete shit. But
not gonna happen anymore.
I mean, you saw Rick Rude on Monday Night Raw, which was taped, and WCW Nitro on the same night. That happened. Yeah. And watching it, it blew my mind. Because I'm flicking between the channels.
Right.
And I go, oh, there's Rick Rude. There's Rick Rude. What the?
What? Yeah.
Yeah, that type of crap would happen.
Yeah.
And
that's what made it good, though. The storyline was perfect,
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the cool things. I mean, like they overlooked the 90-day clause with Malachi Black.
And that worked out great.
And that worked out great for Malachi and AEW because everybody was thinking, oh, we got to wait 90 days.
Right.
We got to wait 90 days.
We're going to see this guy.
Boom! He's on freaking AEW television. I'm like, holy shit. I marked out like an idiot. I love Dallas or Black. I love freaking... he's one of my favorite wrestlers. You know, and all of a sudden,
That's another thing I'm afraid of about AEW's. Don't pick up every guy that leaves WWE.
no, because that was one of TNA's major
Yeah.
mistakes. Was they recycled everybody from WWE.
There's a couple of guys, their contracts are about to be up, and then we're so here wondering they're going to show up TNA or they're going to show up
Yeah. I mean, Bray Wyatt, everybody's
Impact,
wondering where
whatever it's
he's
called
going to
now.
show up at
Yeah.
Impact. Now, is he... God, I
think-
hope... Please don't go to Impact, Bray. Please. Please. I know you want to work with Danhausen, but please don't. You know?
See, I don't understand. WWE had something.
Yeah.
I don't understand. The Fiend, the greatest thing they came up with in the last 5 years I can think of. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Why? Why did they missed it up with the whole Seth beating him,
Yes.
and then when they did that, it missed up the love that people have for Seth.
And
So-
then Goldberg put that nail in that coffin.
Yeah, so it was over.
Very much.
So what you made, and then the whole Randy Orton, was that his last match with Randy Orton?
When he set the Fiend on fire, I think it might have been.
So, and that didn't make any sense to me. And the Sister Abigail, you might as well have squashed that because this doesn't make any sense anymore.
Right.
So,
I mean, you got people are chanting Bray Wyatt when,
she's out there.
she's out there. So it's crazy. I'm guessing. I mean, a lot of details have yet to still come out about that. I'm thinking Vince just didn't get the gimmick. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. And
I think it's time for him to take a seat back and let Triple H look what he did at NXT. He has full reigns in NXT, right?
he did, and now that's no longer his baby, as far as I know. I know. Shawn Michaels has been ever since Triple H went to the hospital for his heart thing.
Yeah.
I know Michaels took over the reins for a little bit, but I think ultimately, I believe now Vince and is it Bruce Pritchard? Maybe I'm thinking the wrong. No, what's his breaking guy? Wow.
Can't think of his name.
Yeah, not Pritchard. I'm sorry.
Probably another old.
Yeah,
out of touch.
Well, that's the problem. Not that they're not really in touch with the current millennials viewership the way that AEW is, and
Yes.
and AEW, if you look at it, I mean, some of their most creative influences there are Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks.
Oh man.
You know, they're the younger guys, so they kind of
touch with us.
Yeah,
Touch with them.
they got that demographic wrapped up.
Yeah.
They know what millennials want, and they're giving it to them. And a lot of the stuff they do, like I've never been a Young Bucks fan.
No.
I mean, I appreciate what they can do in the ring, but I never liked their psychology because they've always much more before. They're getting better now. They're getting a lot better now. But when I watched them like in TNA or New Japan, it was a spot fest.
Yeah.
With the whole super kick party crap.
Yeah.
But it wasn't meant to appeal to me. It wasn't for my demographic.
Yes.
So
Younger generation likes the flips and.
They like that, so it was never meant to appeal to me. So it makes sense that it doesn't appeal to me. And if the younger viewers like it, awesome. It gets them into wrestling. Great.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can appreciate a guy like Christian who can sell like crazy.
Oh yeah.
And put a match together. You know, I mean, a guy like that to me is worth a lot more because he has that. You know, and now you got a guy like that with the young guys. You know, in AEW, and I think that's going to help them tremendously. So.
And how I've seen older guys in WWE, they don't want to help build other, and
They're afraid of their spot.
And look what Chris Jericho did with
well, he's done it with a couple of guys now with Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
He let Orange Cassidy get over on him.
Right.
You know, and there's a guy that Jericho admitted he didn't understand the gimmick. But then when he went out to the live crowds and saw people going nuts for this guy,
Yeah.
he's like,
I don't get it either, to be honest. Like, I mean,
I think he's great for comedy.
right.
I mean, he cracks me the hell up, and he's talented as shit, you know. But I mean, he's not a guy that I really wanted to see in that upper echelon. But people love him. He gets over, so go with it.
Like
you know?
was it MJK
or Wow. My brain's not working either. I'm sorry. You know, obviously you can tell this the first podcast because neither one of our brains are working at this point. But MJF is who you're talking.
My apologies. But yeah, he built him to the greatest heel to right now
He's
at the moment.
Best heel in wrestling.
Yeah,
right now. Hands down the best heel.
He reminds me of a young Jericho.
A young Jericho mixed with some punk. He's got a little bit of punk in him too. Yeah, he's kind of a throwback in a lot of ways because he doesn't do the high flying flippity do crap.
No, he's the basic. You know, we.
I mean, if a moonsault doesn't make sense to do, he won't do it. It's not his thing. Plus, he wrestles as a heel, so he doesn't want to do the flashy stuff.
Right.
He won't be doing that stuff. You know, but psychology wise, was he 24 now?
Yeah.
I mean, that dude has the entire whole package. Yeah. I mean, he's got great look, great personality, and he knows what topics to pick. I mean, he did a cut promo against Sting. Dynamite. Was it Dynamite? And man, he brought up Sting's drug use in the past. Yeah, and that's not something everybody knows about. Right. You know, I've read Sting's book, I've seen the movie. You know, I know all about that because and I've followed Sting a little bit, you know, through his doing his evangelical work, you know, and whatnot, showing up the various Christian-based promotions and stuff. So I know his story, but a lot of people in the mainstream don't have any clue about that.
Right.
And when he brings that up, that's a little dig, and that's a little, kind of a nod and a wink to the marks, I think. You know, but he does that stuff and details like good. That. Yeah. What makes it. I liked his promos between him and Darby Allin.
Oh yeah.
When he started bringing up, your uncle, you're the one that should have died instead of your uncle.
Right. Oh yeah.
I was like, holy crap! That's the biggest heel thing I've ever heard in my life. You know, it's like, man, he does that stuff really, really well, and at such a young age. You know, I just hope he doesn't burn out or go to WWE because that's a guy that could fit it right in. I think right into WWE. Yeah. And I can see someone like Vince offering him
a lot of money to come. Yeah.
To come. I mean, thank God Tony Khan is a billionaire.
Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah. I mean. Now, if he could just get the freaking Jacksonville Jaguars in shape the way he's done with AEW.
Let's not talk about football.
Yeah. Sorry.
Still sore about my team.
Yeah. I mean, and, you know, the people listening obviously don't know, but I'm a Raiders fan.
I'm a Chicago.
Matt's a Chicago boy. So, I mean, you beat us.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, and that was... you made the joke, you know. Oh, you get beat by the Bears, you get fired the next day. You know? Yeah. It's like obviously the less than stellar incident with John Gruden, the embarrassing incident with John Gruden. You know, I don't want to get into too much detail about that, but we got a head coach that's doing a great job now and leading this a lot better because I think I see Derek Carr having a lot more control of this offense and Greg Olson having a lot more control of this offense, and it's working. And the defense is playing like gangbusters. I hope to God they keep it up, man. But yeah, we'll try not to tap on Nagy or any of those guys.
No, it's time to fire the coach. I don't know what y'all are doing. It's time to let him go.
Message is Chicago, man. If anybody's listening,
it's not working.
It's time. You know. I mean, man, I was dreading going into Chicago just because of Khalil Mack, though. I saw what that guy could do when he was a Raider, and that guy's scary. But yeah, back to wrestling. Hey,
it's our show.
Yeah, exactly, our show. Screw you. It's our show. You don't like it? Don't listen. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're going with the current product. I don't know if you have anything else to add about what you think of the current product. I mean, have you seen any of the lesser promotions like GCW, MLW, any of those? Or you been paying attention to those at all?
Not really.
I mean, they don't get, you know, MLW had that one through with Vice that they started tacking on the end of Dark Side, and I watched a little bit of it, but I couldn't really get into it a whole lot, unfortunately. There weren't too many names that I knew in the promotion.
But the thing about like them or even like the indies, I like is it's not you don't have to worry about if you're good on the mic. You just what you can do in the ring, because a lot of them don't have they don't have storylines. We're not watching it on a TV show, and that's what I like. I don't know if you watched the TV show Hills.
I haven't yet, and that sucks because I really want to watch that show.
And I'm hoping they give them another season, especially how the last episode ended. I'm not.
What else does Stars have really? I mean, that's
it.
Yeah. So,
and it was a great show because it showed what the indies are about. These guys are wrestling and killing themselves there
for $50 a night. Yeah, with no benefits and working a full-time job.
That's what these guys are doing. These guys are training wrestling out here.
It's like the music industry. You get people, working for free or for $50 a gig and working full-time job and killing themselves
just for that dream.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But I can identify with that one. But yeah, no, I want to see Heels so badly. I'm hoping they release it as a DVD or something.
Probably have it on something else. You would think, well, it would be on Hulu or something.
Well, I mean, maybe if Stars offers another free promotion, I'll tack on.
That's the only reason why I seen it. I got a free 3 months when I got.
I can't do another streaming service. I can't. Right now. It's just money's tight as it is.
Well, I'm getting Peacock back so I could try to keep up
with WWE
just a little bit. So don't sound completely dumb.
No, I mean that's cool. I appreciate the hell out of that because I can't afford Peacock right now. So
I looked up some stuff yesterday on the way to Memphis, and I was looking at WWE and looking at the Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar situation, and I'm not understanding where we're trying to go with it.
Yeah, I've seen some flashes of that. I kind of read the dirt sheets a little bit, but I still don't know what's.
I think Vince is saying he's not in panic mode, but I think they are in panic mode, bringing Brock back.
He's upset. I mean, when he brought Goldberg back, that's panic written all over.
Yeah,
I mean that.
Well, they brought Cena back, and that everybody thought this was when Cena was going to break. Was it break or tie Ric Flair's?
Ric Flair. Oh boy, I should know this, and I'm sorry I don't. But that's when people thought that was going to happen.
That was going to happen. Yeah. It was going, and then he lost, and then Brock came out.
Yeah.
So it was like
I think they were trying to get the wow factor.
Yeah, but we knew it was coming.
Yeah,
we knew it was.
It's the same thing with Becky, though. They did the same thing with Becky. I think they were just trying to get people to pop, and get a reaction, and they did. Yeah. They got people that weren't paying attention. Yeah, they got a reaction. I mean, because any reaction is better than no reaction.
Right.
I mean, the worst thing you can have in wrestling is apathy. So.
And I watched the interview with Kurt Angle, and he said if they're cheering for you or they're booing for you, at least they're doing something.
They're doing something, yeah. No, because apathy is death in wrestling. Because apathy means people are going to the bathroom, they're not, they're not going to pay.
I watched a match with Ricochet and Ali.
Okay.
Dead silence.
Oh yeah.
Nobody's saying any. The crowd is not making any noise.
As good as both of those guys are, they have no charisma. That's why. I mean, I hate to say it because Ricochet was killing it as what was it, King Puma and like Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
And the guy can wrestle. He can out wrestle anybody.
He could do those flips, and everybody's
But they haven't found. He's never hit stride with his mic working with his character, unfortunately. No. And I don't know if that's maybe that's to blame WWE because they script everything.
Right.
It's hard for people to be off the cuff and excited when you're being handed a script. And you have to, because some of these guys they're come from the indies, like you said. They don't really cut promos and whatnot. They're not actors,
right?
So
I mean, Did he come from Ring of Honor? He came from somewhere.
Well, he was where I was familiar with him
Evolution.
was Lucha Underground.
He was.
Might have been. I'm sure he was in other promotions too.
Him and Keith Lee were in the. I remember watching one. He was wrestling Keith Lee. I can't remember the promotion, and they were in a high school gym or something. And Ricochet was jumping off of a basketball goal.
Oh no!
And I was like, this is great. And then 4 years later, I see him on WWE, and
now they're destroying Keith Lee's the career too.
Everything.
Bearcat Lee. That's his new name. Holy.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand he's paying tribute to Bearcat and all that, but man, they've mishandled. That's another guy they've mishandled right out of his chute, Keith Lee, and I love that dude.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be it. I thought he was going to get the push, and then.
Well, you want to talk about mic skills? He's got the mic
yeah.
skills in spades. You combine that with his in-ring ability and being a big guy, which WWE always fucks up the big guys. Let's just say,
You have a top guy right now to me, and I'm no knocks to Roman Reigns because he's one of my favorite wrestlers, but on the mic, I don't think he's that great.
And that's why they teamed them up with Paul Heyman, but they keep giving him the mic.
Yes, that's
so it's
because when that Brock Lesnar and he just said his name. Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Brock didn't have to say nothing.
Right. He just goes out there, looks good, and beats people up.
Yeah.
That's what Brock does. He looks.
And Paul Heyman can sell. He can make anybody look good. He can take a guy that weighs 120, and he can.
Look what he did with ECW. He did that with ECW.
Right.
He made Taz look like the baddest man on the planet.
Yeah.
Taz is like 4 feet tall.
Right.
I mean, he's a great wrestler, but that dude ain't beating up.
Right.
I'm sorry. Taz is great on the mic. He's great on the stick, but he ain't gonna be beating up these 7 foot tall guys.
Right.
I'm sorry. But Heyman made him look like the best mofo on the planet.
And that's what he's good at.
So I mean, he knows what he's doing. But I mean, yeah, like we're saying, there's Keith Lee. There's a guy they should have never effed up.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder: is there backstage politics going on? Is there like locker room problems?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back and listen to some old things, old wrestling, and hear what Kevin Nash talk about, there's some reasons why some guys never got pushed because they were up there.
Back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let people pass. I can't remember Vince wanted someone to lose to Nash, and he was, no, I'm not losing to this guy.
Yeah.
And then
Hogan did that for years too.
And then and then you never see that. Guys could have got pushed.
Yeah.
Do you remember like the that knockout thing, the boxing thing they came up with?
Oh dear Lord, how could we screw that up?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, the guy that won that, they want to give they want to give him a push, and then
that was designed to push Dr. Death there, or whatever. And it didn't. He get knocked out like the first round or something. He got hurt.
Because that was actually.
That was like one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life.
That was a Vince Russo idea. Everybody
was it Vince Russo? Oh snap!
Yes, it was. I remember watching something, and they were talking about it. I'm like, you know what? That looks like it would be his idea.
Yeah, that and the contract on pole matches they used to always do.
There was, like I said, there was good things in the attitude era, and then there was things where you're just looking like, hey, we go back and look at it now, and we think about like I would never let my kids watch this product.
No, of course not. I mean,
the things they talked about,
the nudity and the vulgarity. No,
I was walking around school talking about eat poutine pie. Didn't even know what poutine was. Didn't know what. So my mom smacked my mouth and
don't say doing their little crotch chopping. No, I mean,
school gets suspended for telling the teacher to suck it. Yeah. I mean, can't even say it on TV now.
You're right. I mean, we're existing in the PG era now, but yeah, that's what makes me wonder. It's like you see these guys get de-pushed, and you see them, after they have such a full head of steam, like we're talking about, Karrion Kross before, man. How do you screw that up?
Yeah.
When there's a guy that in the old days would have come in and would have had worked against jobbers and would have made it into a monster heel.
Yeah.
There's a guy that like I said, back in the old days, but I don't know, they've got this system in place where they feel like they have to test guys, and it's like these guys have been tested.
Right, yeah. They're good to go.
They're good to go. They're ready. They have a character, they know who they are, they know their skill set.
There's some wrestlers that are getting pushed right now. I think it's time for WWE to let go.
You think so? Like who?
To me, AJ Styles, I think his time is done. I think it's time And a lot of people were like, "Whoa!"
I'm gonna let you pass on that one.
AJ Styles at the beginning, if they would have gave a bigger push, but now he got tag teams with Amaz,
Right.
and I mean,
See, I haven't watched the proc, so I don't know.
I just watch back if what I see on
Yeah.
Facebook and YouTube.
I mean, AJ has toned down his style a ton because he's older now. He's not the AJ Styles that was doing 540 splashes and freaking corkscrews and Pele kicks landing on his head and stuff. I mean, and AJ Styles is still my favorite wrestler. I love that dude. I'm
not saying he's not a good wrestler.
No. I've noticed a little drop off, but he's
good on the
always
mic.
been good on the mic.
Yeah,
though,
that's the thing.
so
He's good on the mic.
And that's a guy that I'm glad WWE didn't pick up early on.
No,
and I know it's gonna sound weird.
They would have ruined him.
Yeah, they would have ruined him because they would have had him jobbing out to guys because he's not. I mean, I've met AJ Styles and they bill him at 6 feet. And I ain't revealing any great mysteries here, but the dude's shorter than I am, and I'm like 5'11", and I was in the ring looking down to AJ Styles, and now that's not in a bad way, but I mean just physically, I was bigger than the dude,
right?
And I respect the whole. Like I said, he's my favorite wrestler. I respect the hell. It was an honor for me to take a picture with him and walk in the ring with him and stuff. But that dude ain't no 6 feet.
Right.
And WWE would have just destroyed him. He needed to leave TNA and go to New Japan. He needed to
build up,
I think, because they offered him 2 developmental contracts in the past, which thankfully he turned down.
Right.
Because at the time his wife was going to school and he didn't want to move, and he wanted to keep his family together and he wanted to let her do her thing, which I respect the hell out of.
Right. Yeah. Not too many guys are gonna do that.
Yeah. And I respect. That's one of the reasons why he is my favorite wrestler, just because he did that. He could have been making a lot of money.
Yeah, there's a lot of wrestlers that ruined my favorite wrestler, Stone Cold Steve Austin. If you ever. I don't know if you ever read his book or.
I haven't, unfortunately.
And he just basically chose wrestling over his whole family and ruined his
That's why I never
relationship with his kids, his wife, and everything.
Because you never hear that guy talk about his kids.
No,
you never hear And
when I read that book, I was like, man, I didn't know anything about this.
Well, when you're on the road 350 days a year, it's hard to have those things.
I couldn't imagine not seeing my wife or kid for like that long.
I mean that would. I could do. I want to get. I could be doing a lot more bookings and I could be doing a lot more stuff. But that's my priority right there is my family. So, I mean, if anybody wonders why I'm not out gigging multiple times a week like before I was married, that's why. Right. Because that's my priority.
It's a sacrifice you have to take.
You got to. That's the type of thing you can do early on. Is make those sacrifices, then get married, and then
So for AJ to do that, I didn't know that till you said that. That changed my him as a person.
No, I mean that's the type of guy AJ is. So that's why I respect the hell out of that dude. But yeah, I can see that he's not the AJ.
Yeah.
From Ring of Honor.
Same thing with Samoa and Joe. They released him twice, brought him back to NXT.
I love Joe. But man, he needs to stay on the mic.
Yeah. He's better at the table. Let him talk.
He's so fragile at this point, and I hate to say it because I love watching him in the ring. But he has been hurt so many times. I'm gonna see him. I'm gonna watch this guy freaking die in the ring. Yeah. And I don't want to say it because he is amazing on commentary.
Yeah, he needs to stay at the table.
And that dude needs to stick a mic in front of him and just let him go. Great at the table. Just, man, when WWE took him off of commentary, they made a huge mistake, I think. Yeah. But
the other guy they brought, I think he's on SmackDown. I think he played football.
Yeah, he was a punter. I know.
Exactly. I'm trying to watch a pay-per-view, and this guy's jumping on the table. I'm like,
jeez, people love that dude too, and
because he's doing all that,
Yeah. Well, he's actually showing some emotion, unlike the other stiffs he's with. So it's. I mean, who's the last person to really get involved? JR.
Oh man, yeah.
Jim Ross, who I think is the best commentator of all time.
Before he started losing his mind. Yes.
Yeah, I mean the dude. I got both his books too, but right behind you. I mean,
he's been doing it for years though.
He's been doing it for a long time.
He was behind the scenes. He helped build up a lot of.
And that's where I think
wrestlers.
He should go back to his talent relationship because that poor guy. I love the hell out of him, and I will always give him a free pass on the mic because he's accomplished more than any of these bozos have. I just think that the loss of his wife. And, he combined that with the whole Bell's palsy, and I think it's just becoming too much for him to do. And I would never want to see a day where I don't hear Jim Ross's voice, but I honestly think it's
voice of my childhood. Him and the King.
yeah, Lawler, and you can lump like Gordon Sully if you're from the South and whatnot. And say, man, but when you hear Jim Ross getting excited and yelling, that's what gets me into believing a match,
right?
And selling a match. I mean, that's why Undertaker asked him back for that one match at was that WrestleMania? Was it against Roman Reigns, wasn't it? Or when he called that match? Maybe I'm screwing things up. I'm sorry, but yeah, you want to hear JR, man, and no, I really think it's time for him to hang up. And you know what? They got AEW's got Shivani, he's still got years left on him, and to tell you the truth, I think Excalibur's excellent.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I think he's great at play-by-play. He's one of the best play-by-play guys out there. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to add a lot of color.
Yeah.
But as far as play-by-play, he knows every move.
Yeah.
He is quick as a whip, and that dude. I mean, they're talking about wanting JR to be the voice of AEW. I think you should put more emphasis on Excalibur just because he's unique to AEW.
Yeah.
And that dude he's on his game. I think. Personally, I think. People would probably think I'm an idiot for saying that, but personally, I think that.
I think eventually Chris is going to take a
I
back
agree.
seat, and he's going to.
I think that's what
he's awesome.
He's great on mic.
Yeah.
You combine
especially this podcast. I can listen when I used to be able to listen to
great.
podcasts at work. I can listen to it all day long.
When I was driving an hour and a half one way to Memphis every day, I put Jericho on. I put all the podcasts on. That's what kept me awake at 5 o'clock in the morning. Driving to Memphis when the sun ain't even up, and I'm out there with the cows. Driving. Those guys kept me awake. Jericho's awesome. No, he's great. I mean, then the fact that he's been able to branch out in other media, with Fozzy and with because Fozzy was a legit band early on. I mean, he was, he was doing that almost, in equal effort with wrestling. Fozzy's a legit band. They're not a joke band.
Right. That's pretty good. Yeah.
So
I got a couple songs on my playlist.
Yeah. No, I mean, Judas keeps popping up in mine because I think I played the hell out of it when it was first coming on. But yeah, those are all things that I think the current state. I'm looking forward to. Kind of like I said, I hope that that AEW can avoid the pitfalls that TNA did. And right now, I think Tony Khan. My biggest advice to him, not that I know anything, but just some schmuck with a mic, but my biggest advice to him is delegate some of the things he's doing, because he's doing everything right now, and delegate that to some of the people like an Arn Anderson. Yeah. Like a Sting. Let them
guide you.
Yeah, let them handle some of the booking, let them handle some of the storytelling, some of the creative control. Because that's where they're lacking right now is storytelling. I think, and that's something they have to develop. And
that's what's going to sell you on TV is the storytelling. Yeah,
because they can't have people breaking their necks every week. No, they can't. That's a formula for failure right there.
I think that's what WWE is good at. They can
they can pace people and prolong stories almost too long sometimes.
Yeah.
To the point where you're sick of it. But that's what they're good to. And that's one area where they do need to take a little bit of advice from WWE, I think.
give us a couple of weeks, 3
Yeah.
weeks, you know.
Prolong some of these feuds.
Yeah.
They've been doing an okay job with that with Malachi Black and Cody Rhodes because they'll have him pop up.
I'm excited about that right there.
Yeah. I mean, that last match was good. Unfortunately, Cody Rhodes pinned Black, but that was cool because it was working in, like you were saying, working in Nightmare Family
Right.
into it and bringing those people in to fight for Cody, and Black was just dismantling them, which was really freaking cool. And then now he has the Mist, which that's so heel. That's like I love the Great Muta, and that just throws me back to the Great Muta doing that. I was like, that was so cool. I was like, that's a heel move right there, man. That's something you don't see in the WWE.
I was surprised to see that. That's great.
Surprised the hell out of me.
Asuka was doing that for a
while. It had the green mist, right? I think it was. I'm surprised. Like Black has been teasing the Black Mass, but he doesn't do it. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
He's brought the guy up, and then he'll let him down, or something, and he teases the Black. The fans start going nuts. I think if they ever make him a babyface, he'll bring that back. I think he's purposely not doing it because he wants the fans to dislike him.
That's true.
Kind of thing, because right now they're booing Cody Rhodes. Yeah. Which, I don't know. Cody Rhodes is falling into the John Cena syndrome right now, I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because he's got the babyface thing down, but he's got it down so well and so slick that people hate him.
That's what it's. I mean, it worked for John Cena though.
Yeah,
I mean, he was still the guy for years.
Yep.
I wish he would have turned heel.
Cena,
Yeah, it's too late now. Though.
It is, and I don't mind them keeping Cena babyface throughout, but they wouldn't do it from a marketing standpoint because the kids bought all his merch.
So he's sold. When I was in high school, I want to see when he first came out, and he came out with that whole
Thugonomics,
thing. I bought into it.
Hell yeah!
I was,
everybody did.
Yeah,
I was into it even before when he came out as a prototype.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And didn't he challenge Angle?
Yeah,
I think I was digging it then because this guy looked like a monster.
Yeah. And he had a great match.
Yeah,
there's another story behind it that John Cena too about everybody thought that's when he took off, but it's not when he took off. He almost was let go. Yeah, because he came too gimmicky. He was wearing whatever state he was in. He was matched the shorts to the color of whatever team
for the cheap pop. Yeah. Well, he almost got let go at one point because, I guess Stephanie McMahon heard him rapping on the bus or something. Freestyling, and she was like
asking questions. How does that work?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So they decided to keep him because of that. I mean that works. Like you said, the whole Thugonomics thing.
It took off.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. He'd come out there, make freestyle, do a cipher, and make.
Yeah. And then when he turned that baby face, kids loved it. And he was
because he was colorful and he had merch that the kids could buy into and stuff. So
he was on Nickelodeon and everything. So
but I still think though that's the biggest mistake they made with Roman Reigns was not turning him heel earlier. Yeah, because if you remember, The Rock when he came out as a baby face initially, he was getting booed. Yeah, and I think they made the same mistake with Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns would be much bigger right now, much better in his career, if they had turned him heel almost immediately. Yeah, because if he had come out there monster heel, he didn't have to talk. Just beat the crap out of people.
They should have turned him heel instead of Seth.
Yes, absolutely.
They should have had him turn against the Shield, and I guarantee you that would have been a lot better.
I could devote an entire show about the whole Shield thing because I used to love the Shield.
Oh yeah.
And I loved the Wyatt family. So when you had the series of matches between the Shield and the Wyatt family,
that was amazing.
I was in. Yeah. Man, I was in. That was it for me. So I think when they broke that up, they should have probably turned Roman heel at that point.
Probably the best thing that ever happened to Moxley, though.
Yeah, but
they were They were holding him back, and now
Yeah.
now you see what he's doing. You know,
They didn't know what to do with Moxley.
no,
Vince was saying, "Oh, come out to the ring with a popcorn cart and crap. You're crazy. Act crazy." It's like
a gas mask. Like he just got done watching The Dark Knight, and it was like, "That's a great idea." 20 years later, like,
yeah, it's like
didn't make any sense.
okay. You know, they still say, what was it? The whole like the Alexa Bliss or the Liv Morgan gimmicks was because Vince saw Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
Like,
the Harley Quinn
the Harley
fetish.
Quinn, yeah, and it worked for a little while. It was like but
There's a lot of gimmicks I watched. I mean, I haven't watched it in a while, but I'm like, I don't understand it. Like,
you can't identify with it, yeah. And I think it's people not being allowed to be themselves as much. I think they have these creative has these gimmicks in mind, and they wait till a wrestler comes in that kind of slightly fits the look. Like I'll bring up the cross thing again.
yeah,
And I think that's where they go, oh, hey, we can put this suit on you, and despite the fact that they don't fit that character, and I think that's a huge mistake with WWE right now. I think they're making, and once again that gets back to AEW letting their people continue to be their characters they recognized outside of, because Kenny Omega had how many belts at one time? He had the AAA, he had the Impact. He had the
like 4 or 5.
Yeah, he had. I think he had a New Japan belt. He had the AEW heavyweight belt.
That's another thing I like about AEW, the crossovers.
Yeah,
To me. I don't understand why WWE don't try that.
I love seeing the Good Brothers on AEW. I think that's cool. I think they belong in there full time.
Right? Yeah.
To tell you the truth,
Eventually,
yeah. I mean, but I like Christian has the Impact belt right now.
Yeah, and he's on both.
He's on both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty cool.
That was another thing that shocked me. He was at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later,
yeah.
I'm like, what is this?
There's a meme on that, right? It's like the only person to main event 3 pay-per-views of different companies. It's no, it's definitely
Vince ain't gonna let that happen no more.
What's that?
I said Vince ain't gonna let that happen no more.
No, hell no. He ain't. They've been, WWE has been in talks with New Japan though.
Yeah, I would like to see that, or at least Ring of Honor.
Man,
something.
The only problem I have with that is that screws up AEW's ties with New Japan then.
Oh yes,
because it's going to be exclusive to WWE if they sign.
Right. Yeah.
And by the way, I was pissed when Access they didn't renew New Japan or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I had just gotten into that. New Japan is good.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I was watching.
That's what I was watching the Good Brothers and where they were. The Bullet Club.
The Bullet Club, yeah.
Like, to me, that was great.
That was great. I mean, you see people, and that was the first time since Austin 316 that I saw people wearing wrestling shirts going around.
Yeah.
You saw the Bullet Club everywhere. Yeah. Finally something looked cool.
Right.
Again, and Bullet Club did that again. AJ Styles was part of that, man.
Yeah.
Finn Balor started it. What have they done with that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because at one point you had.
It's another wrestler that WWE did nothing with.
I think Finn Balor, honestly, I think he might be. He went back down to NXT the first again. Now he's back. Obviously, back up WWE. I think he didn't like the schedule. That's my feelings. I don't know any truth to that, but I think
he should just stay his alter ego is,
the Demon.
I think that would fit better.
Well, have you seen his New Japan stuff?
Yeah.
His New Japan stuff is amazing.
Yeah. Like
his intros coming in and everything are incredible. And he would do stuff at indie promotions where he'd show up as the Joker or he'd do.
Yeah.
And when he was Prince Devitt, he was good. That they need to go let him do that.
I don't understand why WWE don't try to cap. There's a reason why we like this guy from somewhere else or NXT. Then you bring him to
I think part of it
easily put a shirt on him,
Yeah. I think part of it is because they can't copyright that stuff. Because they want it to be WWE's own invention.
Gotcha.
That way they can own the rights to it. Yeah, and I think it's a total legal thing. Whoever goes off to AEW or a competitor,
they can't use the same moves, the names, the music.
Well, Dudley Boys when they left WWE. They had to go as 3D when they showed up in TNA. Because WWE bought the rights to Dudley Boys. It's like they're hoping that and it all goes back to the Attitude Era, because the 90-day compete, yada yada yada. They want to keep those rights so they can show this stuff and have full rights to it and get the money from it. So I say let's. I don't know how you feel, but we should probably start winding down a little bit. What do you think? Yeah. We're coming up on an hour and 15 minutes here, but what are your closing thoughts on the state, and what do you want to see happen in wrestling?
I want to see WWE start stepping it up. Hopefully, bring Wyatt back. I think if they bring him back, don't let him go somewhere else, but don't mess up the gimmick. And with AEW, you guys are on the right path. I hope they just keep going, but dial it back, and I think for years to come, we might still be talking about WWE and AEW.
I hope so. I really hope so, because the best thing for the wrestling community. It's the best thing for the product. Yeah.
For the fans?
For the fans, and just for the integrity of the product and the creativity of the product,
And I hope AEW inspires other people. Like, hey, they're doing it. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. Not too many. We're kind of limited on the number of billionaires, unfortunately, that want to do it. But I wholeheartedly agree with that, and that's kind of how I feel. Hopefully AEW, Tony Khan continues to along this path, but he takes a little bit more overseeing of the booking, or at least let somebody oversee the booking, get a little bit of creative control over this, so we can have a cohesive product as opposed to a whole bunch of storylines kind of going crazy, and
get someone experienced in there to help him out, guide him the right way.
And he's got the people there. He's got the people. He just needs to say, hey, step in for me here.
Right.
He really has the right people there. But hey, thank you everybody for listening. I've had a blast, and I can't wait to do this again. But I hope to God that everybody enjoyed the podcast, because, like I said, I had a blast doing it. I'd like to send some shout outs. Once again, I was talking about the podcast that inspired me earlier. Go check those guys out. Any one of those people I mentioned, go check them out. I'd like to give a shout out to Then Now Flea Market, downtown Trenton, Tennessee, because we sell some of our products through there. We haven't gotten any Krushing Kayfabe merchandise out there, but we will eventually. We're working on it. And but I got my product. My CD is available there. You can go down and buy it. Some homemade, handcrafted goods for my wife and whatnot. Some jewelry is down there. Some hand painted stuff. So if you want to check them out, go check them out downtown Trenton. Across from the square. It's easy to find. You'll see the big sign. But give those people a shout out, props out. God bless everybody. Stay safe, and don't do anything stupid.
And keep watching wrestling and keep listening to us.
Absolutely, yeah. Keep tuning in. CrushingKayfabe.com. We have a store at cafepress.com/Krushing Kayfabe, and Krushing Kayfabe is with a K. So that, if you're typing in the right way, with the C, you're not going to be able to find us. It's Krushing Kayfabe with a K.com. And then, like I said, the Cafe Press store is up. So cafepress.com/Krushing Kayfabe, I believe. I'll have to double check that, but if you search for Krushing Kayfabe, you'll find it, and you can buy some merchandise and help us out, help to keep the podcast alive, and buy some shirts and advertise the product, and we'll love you for life. But I think that's about it. So once again, God bless. Keep watching wrestling, and everybody, CrushingKayfabe.com.